You can still use your passport or your birth certificate or your 3 bank accounts if you want, however many times. You can choose to pay £85 to a company to prove that you are who you are every time you need to. Or you can take the easy route, which is get digital ID.
So Keir Starmer claims digital ID is the easy route.
So I'm in Brighton today. This is Barclays Bank, and I've been talking to customers about digital ID, and they're really enthusiastic. It'll have your basic information on it. For everything other than proving you've got a right to work, it won't be mandatory. You don't have to have it, but you can have it. You can use it for anything that requires identification, and there are lots of things. If you want to rent, for example, if you want to apply for a mortgage, if you want to get your child into primary school, there's a catchment area, and you've got to show where you live, proving who you are, what your date of birth is, will just be able to be done with digital ID. They're really up for it, and I think once you understand just how much easier it'll make life, so many more people will be too.
Data sharing. So the biggest thing that we hear about is, will digital ID be sold off to a private company in the way that NHS data has now been sold off, or in the process of being sold off to Palantir?
No, this isn't about data sharing. This is about basic information that is kept in other forms. It's not new information. Information about who you are, what your age is, etc. is information which is stored, but it's storing it in a different way, a digital way, which makes it much more convenient for people. So people can rest assured this isn't about data sharing or a security issue. It's simply about making life easier for people who are going to have to prove their ID anyway.
And that private company in the interim then, it can't do anything with the data that it has?
No, we're not going to allow private companies to use data for any purpose that they might want. Of course we're not going to allow that to happen.
A green code on the health app is also required for buses and subways. Even access to apartments is now monitored. Everyone in Beijing lives within a gated compound, with only one entrance. There are checkpoints everywhere. Wang Yu lives in the Beijing suburbs. Only after a heated argument do the security guards allow her into her own building without a scan. All visitors must also log in. No one knows what will happen tomorrow. Maybe the guard won't let me through, and I won't be able to get in. And this is all illegal. The Chinese government has turned the Corona app into a surveillance tool. Every time it's scanned, names and locations are passed on to the police.
So how does China's data surveillance system work, and how is it useful in a pandemic? It all starts with this, a national ID card. You need one to pretty much do anything in China. From buying a mobile phone to using any app, everything you do leaves a data trail linked back to your ID.
On this day in 1990, serious violence broke out in London during a protest against a new council tax called the poll tax. Thousands attended the rally, calling for it to be scrapped, claiming it was unfair. Many protesters said the march was hijacked by violent anarchists who attacked the police. Ultimately, the hugely unpopular tax was binned, and it also played a part in ending Margaret Thatcher's time as Prime Minister.
The rioting began when police tried to clear Whitehall after demonstrators refused to move from the entrance to Downing Street. The fighting rapidly escalated. Missiles rained down on the police, who seemed unprepared for the ferocity of the violence they faced. Officers made repeated charges as their lines came under attack. Police vehicles trapped by the mob were attacked with bricks, bottles and iron bars. Many had their windows smashed. The police accept the majority of the tens of thousands of demonstrators were peaceful. The violence was caused by around 3,000 among them. There have been more than 300 arrests, many by police snatch squads. Dozens of demonstrators were injured during the fierce hand-to-hand fighting. Some of the injuries are very serious. More than 40 police officers have also been injured. South Africa House and an office block opposite were set on fire. 3 hours after the trouble began, thousands of protesters were still in Trafalgar Square.
Please disperse, leave the square, please.
As police cleared the square, some tried to remember what the demonstration had been all about. Breakaway groups of rioters swarmed all over London's West End. Some of the worst violence of the day followed. Cars were overturned and burnt as the mob retreated into the Leicester Square area. Shop windows have been smashed and there's been widespread looting. Hours after the official anti-poll tax demonstration ended, rioting is still going on.
David Davis.
The scandalously insecure nature of the one login procedure. And I'm writing, I should tell the House, I'm writing to the National Audit Office to ask them to investigate it, because apart from the strategic weakness of having a single login, the government's handling of this has been a disaster. As early as 2022, the Information Assurance team responsible for ensuring the security of the system raised concerns that the system was being developed on unsecure workstations by contractors without the security clearance in Romania. When they ran a red team operation to try and see how secure it was, they broke into the system easily, would have been able to put malware in them, and they weren't even detected by the people running the system. So what will happen when this system comes into effect is the entire population's entire data will be open to malevolent actors, foreign nations, ransomware criminals, malevolent hackers, just their own personal enemies even, political enemies. And as a result, this will be worse than the Horizon scandal.
The benefits are clear. Digital ID will make our interactions with each other and with the state faster, cheaper, and more reliable. It will allow us to judge who has a right to be in our country and who doesn't, and so solves one of the major challenges of immigration. Facial recognition can now spot suspects in real time from live video tracking organized criminals at borders, in public spaces, even helping find missing people. In London, live facial recognition led to 360 arrests by the Met Police between January and October 2024, just in a pilot project. It boosts response times and helps identify suspects quickly in busy places like train stations and events. Live video from body cams and CCTVs can be used to provide real-time advice to officers from a command center or deploy resources to where they're most needed. AI will go even further, spotting crime patterns, guiding patrols, and streamlining decisions. This is where technology, like digital ID, becomes critical. My institute's own analysis shows that introducing this in the UK would save at least $2 billion a year and likely more by reducing losses to fraud, improving tax collection, and better targeting of state support. We can ensure that digital ID enhances rather than threatens personal privacy. The key is building trust and designing, with thought and intention, systems that are secure, fair, inclusive, and effective at combating crime and making us all safer.
So this government trying to bring in digital IDs by the back door, calling it the brick card, trying to make us proud of it. Absolute nonsense. This is so that they can track everything that you do. It's a social credit system like they've got in China. It's the first step towards it, and they're going to try and do anything they can to make you think that it's a good idea and it's for your safety. They'll use the illegal immigrants as an excuse to bring it in and hope that you'll just put up with it. Well, they tried bringing in the vaccine passports and all that nonsense during COVID back in 2020-21. Well, we fought back against that, and we can fight back against this. Because let me tell you, the only people that need tracking and tracing of their every movement is the people in our government. They're the ones that should be accountable to us, the people. They shouldn't be tracking us. We should be tracking their every move and their every piece of legislation. And I stand with everybody at the Together Declaration, who were great during the vaccine passports, and I stand with them again on this issue. No to digital IDs, whatever name they want to try and call it.
But we are victim of our own legacies and complications and this democratic process that we praise ourselves with, and rightly so, but which is operating as too much of a drug at a time when speed is really of the essence. I'll share one frustration with you. When I started back 6 years ago, I was adamant to push for the digital euro and to make sure that we would be digitally anchored with central bank money. Given the time that it takes, and this is currently pending before the European Parliament, given the time that it takes, I will be gone. In other words, my mandate will have expired when the digital euro is eventually launched for good. This is too long. It takes time. When you want to launch something, it has to be right. And the same applies for securitization, for capital market union, for banking union, and what have you. But we just have to accelerate. So my plea is for an understanding of the speed at which reforms have to take place and change has to occur. Because we don't want to be left in the dust. I don't.
Russian military is taking chips from dishwashers and refrigerators to fix their military hardware because there are no semiconductors anymore. Russia's industry is in tatters.
That's the whole idea of the digital ID and the digital currency, is the complete control of money. This is a real line in the sand, and if we allow it to be crossed, what's the future of freedom? There isn't any. And here you now have, just by coincidence, all these countries now introducing digital ID. It's a global agenda instigated by a global network. And people like this guy, Keir Starmer, he's just a gopher. In America, you've got the right using the left as the excuse to take away freedom. This guy's supposed to be of the left, and he's using the right to justify the destruction of freedom. And instead of saying, well, he's left and he's right, we should be saying, what's the outcome? What is the outcome in both cases? Freedom disappears. Freedom of speech disappears. And if people watch the outcome and not the words, not the rhetoric, they'll see that actually, whether it's left, right, or centre, they're going in the same direction. We're all in the gun sights of this cult, this global cult. And while we're fighting each other, they're laughing at us. And it's time to stop. Otherwise, we're going to cross this line, and it's going to be very difficult then.